simple life. It doesn't have much. It doesn't worry him where you're going. Yeah, nowhere.
This is a vintage 1980s Panasonic 5-way oscillation oscillating table fan. It's a 12-inch model. It's a model F-1207 from probably the early to mid 80s. I've had 4 of these. One I garbage picked, one I bought at the Goodwill. The garbage picked one was fine, but the motor was locked up and the blades were cracked, but someone glued it back together. And they did an okay job. I ended up with one from the Goodwill store that is no longer there, thanks to a certain virus that we're not going to get into right now. It was missing the motor cover, but everything else was good, so I was going to make a good fan out of the 2. I no longer have those 2. Then I picked this one up at my local Value Village, which is where I go now because there's a couple local thrift stores I circulate. I go through too, but the Value Village is the biggest one. It's a pretty large store and they have a lot of good stuff, so I picked this one up there. I go there frequently because the Goodwill's gone that I used to go to all the time. I'm surprised the Goodwill lasted in this area as long as it did, but you know, it is what it is. And then I ended up with this one where I accidentally, these motors are staked together. They're not designed to come apart again. And it's kind of stupid and ridiculous than the other one. I don't remember how I did this, but I managed to destroy one of the windings with the drill. I don't know how I did it because the motor is pretty well sealed, but I don't remember. I can look on the other motor and see exactly what I did. But I remember I put I slammed the drill. I think I had one of the covers off. I don't know. No. I'm trying to remember how it happened. Maybe the cover slid. It turned. I don't remember. I can look at the other motor, but all I remember is I damaged the windings. And it is repairable, but I didn't want to play with it too much, so I bought this one for parts, which was a good base and grills, everything but the blades. But this motor also has the gummy bearings, and I'm not going to try and take this motor apart right now. I've oiled the shit out of it, and it still, you know, it runs, but it still takes a few minutes to start. These are honestly pretty crappy motors in these things. There's a sticker. Come on, focus. There we go. My camcorder's getting really picky with focusing and doing things, and I've had this camcorder almost as long as I've had my channel. So I'm gonna run it. It does run a bit slow. High is about the same speed. These are very deeply pitched blades. These blades look very similar to the Kuhorn blades, but they're a little deeper pitch, and the hub's a little different. The motor cover is the only thing on this that looks odd. I bought another one for a 16-inch model. I thought they were going to be the same. They're not. They're the same design, but the 16-inch model motor cover is wider. It is what it is. It does run though. It just needs some time to warm up. I actually let it run for a few minutes. I tried to oil it right before the video and let it run for a bit. It's still got gummy bearings. There's high. High speed, that's about what it should run at, if I remember the other one. Medium. I feel like that's a little slower than it should be. Still pushing a decent breeze, and then low. I also remember these fans not being particularly that powerful. That might be a little slower. I remember being a little underwhelmed by the performance of these fans when I first experienced a working one. But the oscillation does work. They're very quiet. They're pretty well made, but the motor, you know, the motor in these, here's the 5-way oscillation. You can make it oscillate like that. It'll go from here to here. I had a Sanyo, a Frigid branded Sanyo with 5-way oscillation. I think I demonstrated that. Or you can make it go the other way, or anywhere in between. I don't feel like showing every position, but there's plenty of videos online that show that. I don't know. I like these fans a lot. I have horrible luck with them. And I don't know. I think the motors in these are pretty shitty. They're not riveted together. They're actually staked together. Like, they have aluminum stakes that hold them together, like pins that are pressed down at the end. And you have to drill them out. I'm going to try and play with the other one some more since it's already done. See if I can cut the edge of the Dremel and then gently tap it out. And see if that works any better. Because drilling them was not an easy task. But I'd really like to take this motor apart and properly service it. But I don't use this fan for that reason a whole lot. I don't trust it. On high, it's fine, but any other, I just don't trust it to run it unattended. Being that the motor is so gummy. And here's off. I had to let it run for a few minutes before this video to let it actually. Because on high it was running on the low speed, and the low was barely turning, and medium was just a little faster. There's not really a startup sound, I don't think. Yeah. These are nice looking fans, but they're fairly well built, but the motors are really just crappy. In my opinion, these motors are horrible. They're horrendous. Yet they've lasted this long, but if they had screws in them instead of the stakes, I don't want to call them rivets. They're not really rivets either. I think they're a lot better, but yeah, whatever. This is a 1980s Panasonic 5-way oscillation table fan, and that's it. Thanks for watching.
Happy the man. He leads a simple life. It doesn't have much. It doesn't worry him where you're going. Yeah, yeah.